Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Yarn Addict. This is episode 47. My name is Anakin and I design knitting patterns and teach knitting workshops, and I live in the southwest of England. Welcome to today's episode. I am back from a week in Spain. I've been back for a few days now. So today I'm going to share quite a bit about my week in Spain, a few clips, some of the things we did, what I was knitting, things like that. I've also got two new magazines to share with you, two new magazine designs. And a few other things as well. Also planning in every podcast episode to try, if I can, to share like a little mini tip. It'll just be like a small tip that will take like 2 to 3 minutes to film. So I've got one of those for you today, so I will share that at the end, so stick around for that. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave the comments below. You can find any links to anything I talk about today in the description below this video. You may need to click show more to see all the notes there, but all the links are there, and if there's anything you are interested in that I haven't mentioned below, please just leave me a comment and I will make sure I reply to you. Last week's video I shared a tutorial for a new design in the latest issue of Let's Knit, and the magazine has arrived. The magazine was out while I was in Spain and it arrived, I actually got my copy today. It is issue 182, April 2022 of Let's Knit magazine, which is in the shops in the UK now. My design is this one here, so let's take a look at it. I haven't actually looked at this because it literally arrived just a few minutes before I started filming this, so I haven't actually had a look at it yet. I've just noticed as I was going through it, on the close to the back there's a what's the secret column, and it's discovered top tricks for tricky techniques, and it actually talks about the one row buttonhole, which I use in my design, my cardigan. Let me just find my cardigan quickly and have a quick look at what's in here. Let's Knit normally include a crochet pattern, and that's this month's crochet pattern. I fancy making something like that actually. There's a monochrome makes for some black and white things and some pretty yarn to go with it. I always quite like those features because it just shows how you can like incorporate your yarn with other things. Right, let me just see if I can find my design. Some spring cushions here as well. I don't make things like cushions and homewares very often, and maybe I should change that because I do quite fancy that. There are some baby things, some toys. Oh, that's cute. Little lambs, mobile for a baby. Isn't that cute? I love that. That's really nice. Nobody I know is having a baby at the moment, so I won't be making that. There is some blue yarns, plant power. These are all plant-based yarns. That's interesting. I want to have a look at that because quite often magazines are looking for you to try new yarns. So when designers submit to magazines, quite often they really want us to try some new and interesting yarns, and plant-based stuff is quite popular at the moment. There is a patchwork bag. That's cute. Right, must be, oh, that's pretty. Bubble wrap over cardigan. That's nice, isn't it? Very nice. And then there's another cardigan, very pretty. And then there's my cardigan, which is also a pink cardigan. So it looks like that. So I shared a tutorial for this last week, so I will link to that video below. Here's a bigger picture. I don't have the actual sample here because Let's Knit hasn't sent it back to me yet, and I forgot to film any footage of the sample before I posted it. But I do have a tutorial. I don't know how easy it is to see, but this pattern has a really interesting tuck stitch pattern, which I share in a tutorial that I shared last week. So I will link to that tutorial below. So if you've got this issue or you fancy getting it and you fancy having a look at this tutorial, you can do. There's also a sweater, bit of a pink theme this issue, except for the cover design, which is this one. That's really pretty as well. I like that. It's a textured stripe top by Chloe Elizabeth Birch. So that is all the garments in this issue. Definitely a bit of a pink theme going on. Don't mind that. Some really pretty cardigans, really nice. And three cardigans and a couple of sweaters. Really pretty spring, nice colours for spring. And then it's just some news pages and things at the front. So that's the cover of the magazine, and it is in the shops in the UK now. Now Let's Knit always comes with a free gift, and the free gift in this issue is this little sheepy duck. So there's sheep, ducks, rabbit, chickens, different things, like an Easter collection. 12 cute characters to make, so that's very cute. Comes with the yarn and the pattern, I guess. And then it also has this 2 of these leaflets, and this leaflet as well. So lots and lots of value in this magazine. It is in the shops in the UK now. It's been out for probably nearly 2 weeks by the time this video is actually up on YouTube. So if you want to have a look at it, do go and check it out at your local newsagent. Another magazine that's just come out in the last day or two when this video is live is Knitting Magazine. That is my design on the cover again. I've had quite a few designs on the cover for Knitting Magazine recently. Love this picture, really lovely. So let me show you the actual garment first, because I do have it here. I do have a tutorial where I show you how I block this garment, which I will upload next week. So do look out for that. That's the front of the sweater. So you can see the front is just stocking stitch. There is some very subtle waist shaping as well. Stocking stitch on the front, stocking stitch sleeves, garter stitch edges. Sleeves are picked up, stitches are picked up around the armhole, and then the sleeves are knitted top down. A lot easier than it looks. And then on the back it features this pretty lace pattern, which I will show you the pictures in the magazine because they probably show it better. So all the detail in this issue is on the back. The stitch pattern on the back is kind of the main feature. So there are some news pages. There's some interviews with Teresa Etim-Ghost. Apologies if I pronounced your name incorrectly, Teresa. She does some really colourful, beautiful knits. I think it looks like she's a indie dyer as well. Brand looks like it's called Kissy, Kissi. Then there's an article about crochet with Alison Chu. Some really interesting, really pretty crochet designs. Look at that. So this is not actually in the magazine. It's just an interview with this designer who's also got her own crochet magazine called More It, and she's called Alison Chu. She's a podcaster as well, it says. She started up her crochet magazine, so that's interesting. I don't think I've heard of that magazine, but I'm not really into the crochet scene as such, so I will go and have a look at that. That design, really pretty, like a twin set, and that's by Brona Miskelly. And then there is my design there, showing the back of the sweater, because that is the main feature. That is knitted in Cascade Yarns Heritage Silk, which is a silk and merino blend. And then this picture here actually shows the front of my sweater, because I've used my sweater to model this beautiful shawl, which is by Brian Smith. And that shawl is actually knitted in a yarn I really like, which is Macintosh Yarns Fabulous 4-ply, which I've used a few times now. In fact, I actually have sweater lying right next to me. I didn't know it was still here. This was in an issue of Let's Knit recently, and that's Macintosh Fabulous 4-ply. That was in Let's Knit recently. You can get the kits that I've designed for magazines using Macintosh yarns from the Macintosh website, and I actually have an affiliate link for you. Now, the affiliate link, you don't pay any more, but I get a little bit of a commission on anything that you purchase from the Macintosh website. So I'll put my affiliate link below, and I'm assuming that James probably has this shawl as a kit as well, I would imagine. So do check that out. A couple other sweaters, really like that. That's interesting, with the kind of plique, is that what it's called, on the sleeve. Another pretty shawl. The shawls in this issue is really pretty jumper, and a pretty pair of hand warmers. I wear my hand warmers a lot all year round, but they're great for this time of year when it's maybe chilly in the mornings and afternoons, but warm during the day. Really pretty, really nice issues. And one thing that knitting does that I quite like is they do this page where they take 3 designs, and my design is the bottom one here, and they show it in 3 different colours. And then they show some other garments and accessories that you can pair with it. I do think that's quite nice, because it gives you a bit of an idea how you can incorporate it into your wardrobe and what it would look like in other colours. Men's design, children's designs. There's the I looked at this earlier. M is for mending. That's for Joe Allport, I think. Yes, Joe Allport. And it's basically showing you how to do a bit of mending if you get a hole in your knitting. So I'm not that great at mending, so I will have to have a look at that. And then at the end they've got this Pearl About Town column, which I've had for a few years now, which is Laura Parkinson, and this one talks about when she visited Waltham Abbey, Wiltshire, which was in January this year. So I've not had a chance to read that yet. This only came yesterday, I think. So I haven't had a chance to look at it properly yet, but it's been sitting on my desk, so if I get a few minutes I can have a look at it. So that is issue, what is it, issue 229, issue 229 of Knitting Magazine, and it is in the shops in the UK now. Today we are in Santa Pola, which is just south of Alicante, seaside town with a big marina behind me. We're going to go for a walk along the seafront and then get some lunch. So the main project I took with me on holiday is this shawl. I must admit I didn't get as much done as I'd hoped. This is actually my Sapphire pattern, which will be released soon. I originally designed this shawl for the Knitting Magazine, and I have the sample knitted up. I have the sample in the original yarn, and it's all hanging downstairs on my dress form, and I need to photograph it because the pattern is all ready to go. But I decided I wanted to knit it up in Manos del Uruguay silk blend, so I cast that on for my holiday because it's a small project, And as you can see, I didn't get that far. I have finished nearly the first section. I think this might be the last repeat of this section, and then I got to change stitch patterns. I haven't really worked on it a lot since I came home. I've been doing a lot of knitting swatches since I came home. I maybe worked on this for the first couple of days. The day after I came home I was teaching, so I didn't do a lot of any knitting that day, and then I probably worked on this for a day. Then I've been doing some swatching, and then I cast on for a new design, which I'm not going to show you because it's secret. So I haven't really done an awful lot on that design since I came home. Kind of had this idea that maybe I would finish it while I was away, but of course that didn't happen. I am hoping to finish it. I would like to have the sample finished and photographed so I can get it added to the pattern and actually get it printed off in time for Wonderwool, which is towards the end of April, but I'm not sure that's going to happen because before then I also have to knit a sleeveless top for a magazine and also quite a big shawl for a magazine. So I'm really busy at the moment. Can't ask my sample knitters to do it because they're working on other designs. I've just got a lot of designs coming up. These socks I cast on before I went to Spain. I actually finished half the first sock, I think, before I even got on the flight, and then I finished, I think I finished quite a lot of the rest of it on the flight, and I finished it in Spain. Cast on for the second sock and didn't knit a lot on it for the first few days in Spain, and then a couple of days where I came home I just spent an evening just sat down and got it finished because it's not that much knitting to do really. These are my Adventure Shorties pattern. Trainer socks, knitted toe up with a wedge toe, swirly heel, this kind of alternating rib pattern just to add a little bit of interest, and then just a few rounds on the cuff. Perfect trainer socks. I got quite a few of these now and I really like them because my feet get cold, especially in the spring and autumn when I start wearing trainers again. In the spring and in the autumn when it starts getting a bit chillier but I still want to wear trainers outside, I wear these, and they are really bright. They're looking a little bit different on the screen as to what they're in reality, but bright red and pink are really difficult to photograph and film, but I love them. The yarn is opal. I don't know the colour because I threw away the label before I came home. So, but I really like the socks. Can't wait to wear them with trainers soon. It's time to warm up a bit. as you can see, I did finish a pair of socks while I was away. I cast on for the socks before I left, and I actually finished most of the first one before I left for Spain. Then I kind of finished off the first one, I think it was when I was traveling to Spain, and then I didn't work on it for a few days, and then I because most of my knitting was in the flat, and I mainly tend to work on the shawl while I was in the flat. Normally when we go to Spain in the summer, we spend a lot of time on the beach, and then I tend to take my sock project to the beach, but we didn't go to the beach this time. We went for a walk by the beach, but we didn't go to the beach to sunbathe. So I didn't, even though I carried my knitting project with me quite a lot, I didn't actually work on my sock while I was out and about. So then a couple of nights before we came home, I actually sat down and just finished that second of those pair of socks. I actually have, I just weighed this earlier, I've got about 51 grams left. So I'm thinking maybe I'll knit another pair of trainer socks in this. The pattern I used was my Adventure Shorty socks, because I do wear trainer socks a lot. I actually wore those socks that I finished in Spain over the weekend, and they're really comfortable with my trainers. So before I came back from Spain, I cast on for a new pair of socks. So this is Black Stag yarns. I've lost the label, so I've got another skein from the same dyer, so I'm just looking at that. But it is Black Stag yarn and fibre, superwash merino nylon. This colour, by the way, is Jelly Tot Pop. I can't remember what this colourway is. The dyer did tell me on Instagram or Twitter, I can't remember, but I've forgotten, so I must write it down. But it's a really pretty colourway. I'm just doing a plain stocking stitch sock using my Aventuras pattern, working toe up. So I cast on this probably about last evening I was in Spain, I think, I can't remember, and I knitted the toe, probably got about there, I would guess. And then I knitted most of the foot on the day I was travelling, bit at the airport, a bit on the plane. And then when I got home, over the weekend, I knitted the rest of the foot, put it in the piece of waste yarn for the afterthought heel, and then I've done a few rounds since then. So I've done a lot of knitting since I came home, probably from about there, that much. So I've done a lot of knitting on this since I came home, but might be going to the cinema later this week, so I might get a lot of knitting done then. Otherwise we're going away this weekend, so I will probably get some more knitting done while we're away. But this will just live in my bag, my handbag, and then I'll knit on it when I'm out and about. Keep it in this small pouch, project pouch, which is from Plister, Norwegian company. 2 days before I was due to come back from Spain, I'd been out shopping with my mum. We travelled to a nearby town, and when we came back, there was this really strange light. It was really yellow. It was quite cloudy, but it was really yellow. And the next day, it was really thick cloud, and the cloud was really orange, yellowy orange, brown. We had this huge sandstorm, which is called a clima in Spain, and it's sandstorm basically from the Sahara, and it covered most of Spain on my last full day there, and also on the day I was traveling home, and I think for a couple of days after that. Sand everywhere. It was just like a thin layer of dusty sand on everything. So trying to sit down on a bench or something like that was really difficult because everything was covered in sand. Where we had lunch on the last day, I had to wipe down the table and the chairs because there wasn't a lot of sand there. So I think they wiped it down in the morning, but sand had already covered it, so it was just sand everywhere. And when I left, after I left, it rained, so it got worse. So you'll see that this kind of weird light in the next video clip I am going to show you, which is from Cartagena. I'm knitting this garment in the round, and I had to cast on over 200 stitches, and sometimes when you want to join in the round on that many stitches, it can be very difficult to make sure your stitches aren't twisted. And as the first few rows, the first 10 rows were garter stitch, I've actually knitted the first few rows back and forth. So instead of knitting them in the round, I've just knitted back and forth, which is easier anyway when you're doing garter stitch, because garter stitch in the knitted flat is knit every row. Garter stitch knitted in the round is knit one row, purl one row. But now I've done 8 rows and I've got 2 rows left, so I want to join to work in the round now. I think 8 rows is enough. I can see whether my stitches are twisted or not a lot easier now after 8 rows, and it gives me 2 more rows of garter stitch before I start my lace pattern. So I've got my marker ready for joining in the round. I'm joining at the end of a right side row, because that will ensure that once I've started knitting in the round, the right side of my garter stitch will be the right side of my fabric. So I use the long tail cast on, which gives you a definite right side and wrong side of your cast on. I don't know how easy it is to see here, but that's the wrong side and that's the right side. May not be that visible on the video, but there is a definite right and wrong side of the long tail cast on. So I want to join to working around now, so I'm just going to double check, go all the way around, make sure my stitches aren't twisted. My working yarn is coming from my right needle tip, so I'm joining it into a circle, and then I want to put a marker on just so I know where the beginning of my round is. And as I finish with the right side row, I finish with a knit row. So I want to do a purl round next. So I'm going to do a purl round and a knit round, and then I'm ready to start my lace pattern. When you have to join to work in the round, if you have a lot of stitches, and how many stitches a lot of stitches is up to you. Depends on your needle length as well, I think. But if you have to join to work in the round when you have a lot of stitches, it's definitely worth knitting a few rows first. How many rows you work is up to you, but I did 8 rows. Sometimes I may do more or less. What I do is I try and leave the tail just a little bit longer, and then I'll just use the tail to sew up these few rows here. And now I can get on with knitting in the round, and I haven't got to worry about my stitches being twisted. much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions or would like to leave a comment, please leave it below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I release videos every Friday and I do a mixture of these podcast episodes and tutorials. Next week, I will have a tutorial on this sweater, which is the one that was on the cover of Knitting magazine. Links to everything I've talked about is below this video. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.